And we are proud to bring you another season of the Bulldog Blitz. I'm Gerhard Mathangani, joined in by the head coach of the Anniston Bulldogs, Eddie Bullitt. Coach, good to see you again here in 2015. First off, talk about just the overall excitement of starting a new season. We'll get to the nitty-gritty of Week 1 over at Handley. But first off, talk about just getting off to a new season.
Well, just glad to be back and glad to start a new season. You know, you had a long wait over the summer, and you know, once you get that weight out the way, you're ready to just get on the football field and play some football.
Tough loss in Week 1, a very, very close game with a very good team down at their place in Handley. 14-6 your final score, down from Roanoke. Talk about some of the things that you took out of that game. We'll get to the highlights and the way the game was played, but talk about some things that you got out of the game, some of the things you wanted to go into it to see from your team, and some of the things you got from this side of it.
Well, we wanted to make sure that we kept the game close and that we didn't have a lot of turnovers and a lot of defensive penalties, and I think we accomplished that. And I was a little bit worried about having new people in new positions and, you know, how well they were going to perform being on the varsity level. But, you know, overall, I think the kids did a fantastic job. Just came up a little bit short. Absolutely.
One of the new additions to your staff is head coach or assistant coach Shannon Felder. He's now the offensive coordinator. He's kind of the offensive brain. You're kind of the defensive brain.
Right.
Both have head coaching experience. Talk about the addition of him to your staff.
Well, Coach Shannon and I, we've been friends for quite some time, and he's a great addition. You know, has a great offensive mind, and we sort of figured out that we did a lot of things alike. Actually run the same play scheme. You know, just different terminology. So it was a very easy transition for him to come in. We didn't have to teach the kids a new system. You know, he basically learned my terminology, and we just kept the ball rolling. So, you know, looking forward to some great things.
Got a new quarterback in this year with Tay Miller. It's a guy that we've seen really since his freshman year, playing all over the field, receiver in the defensive backfield. Talk about Tay and his development as he heads into this year.
Well, you know, he was our big play wide receiver, and we pretty much moved him around. But now, you know, he's pulling all the strings, and he's the most experienced guy we had to give us the best chance to win. And we put him back there, and he did a great job. You know, first game being back there full-time as quarterback and having to orchestrate everything. But, you know, he did a fantastic job.
L.J. Hurd is back as well in the backfield. He had a huge run. Talk about just the offensive weapons you guys have as you head into this year.
Well, we had 3 tremendous backs, L.J. Hurd, Jeremy McCants, and Edward Montgomery. And, you know, it's a 3-headed monster. And I think once we get them going, you know, all of them are track stars, and, you know, all of them, actually, they, as a group in the weight room, they were the strongest group. So, you know, I think once we get them going and get them a little bit comfortable with what they're doing, I think we're going to be pretty tough to deal with.
Tough test on the road this past week. Talk about, you know, going down there and being able to get that experience right off the gate.
Well, it's good for us because, you know, as you know, next week we'll play Mortimer Jordan, which is another tough game, and it really doesn't get any easier for us. So, you know, playing in that hostile environment and facing a lot of adversity, you know, is good for the kids. And I think it'll just make us a little bit better when we get home, and we'll be a little bit more comfortable, and you had a first game or pregame jitters out the way.
Absolutely. Pregame jitters are out of the way. A 14-6 loss for Anniston, but a lot to look forward to coming up in 2015. First half highlights of Anniston and Handley coming up next on the Bulldog Blitz. The Anniston Bulldogs open the season over in Roanoke against Handley. And, Coach, talk about some of the things you wanted to see coming out of the gate.
Well, basically, we wanted to just kind of keep the game close, you know, to build a little confidence. We didn't want to get down early, you know, too bad, and, you know, just try to keep things close. And, you know, the defense came out and did a pretty good job. You know, we won the toss, and we actually elected to go on offense first, and the offense actually was moving the ball, and we kind of shot ourselves in the foot with a little minor mishap on one of the snaps, you know. Right here on this particular play that they scored on, we kind of got out of position right there one time, and you know, defensive end went down and took the fullback on the lead, and we should have actually been playing the quarterback, and that play would have actually been a tackle for a loss. But you know, just a couple of mistakes defensively, and right here you see we made an ill-advised pitch right there. You know, quarterback should have taken a sack right there, a tackle for a loss, but you know, he pitched it, and you know, we basically told him just keep his head up. I mean, it was a mistake. It didn't do a whole lot to, you know, just put us out of the game. You know, we still gave ourselves chances, you know.
Absolutely.
Right here we gave up a quick screen pass. You know, it was 3rd and long, and we should have been a little bit tight at the corners, but we gave a little bit too much room. But defense came back and held out pretty good, and you know, we were able to counter stuff them, you know.
And Hanley is one of those teams that they have a lot of athletes across the field, so you have to play really disciplined assignment football like you did here.
Exactly, and right there we played it right. We took the quarterback, and the outside linebackers came up to fit, and that's Chris Beard. He actually scooped up the fumble, and I thought he was going to score. You know, I always pick at Chris about his feet being he's pigeon-toed a little bit. You know, he's very quick, but Chris is a great athlete, great lead on defense. It moved him to safety this year. Of course, right here you see Tate Miller. He's running the football, and right there we wanted him to get out. We actually had a big run right there, was moving the ball, and we had a miscommunication in the backfield. The running back came across the path of the snap, and we ended up fumbling the football. And you know, of course, the defense went right back in, and you know, we were playing pretty tight, and we actually should have had a sack right there. We came back here, and you know, defense came up. We got our run fits right here, and you know, of course, they got in the red zone, you know, 4 or 5 times. You know, the defense kind of bowled up, and that's one of the characteristics I like about the defense is that we will actually step it up right there. And right here, you see Jerry McCants. This is his first year actually being on the varsity level. He had to sit out last year, and a lot of people don't realize actually how fast he is, but he had an 87-yard run right there. We thought we were back in it, and of course we got a call back for an offensive penalty, and then Tate Miller comes up right here and he makes a great run again. And you know, defensively we gave it up, we punted, and of course you see Brashard Harris right here. He comes up with a pick, you know, with defense, and I was very proud of the defense. You know, we were able to force 4 turnovers the game, which that's our goal, to force 4 turnovers, and they did a great job. So I was pleased with the defense. We got room for improvement, but we did a fantastic job.
Absolutely. You talk about that bend, don't break mentality, as well as, you know, being disciplined and playing gap assignment football with that score being 14-6, and really in a lot of ways it should have been probably 7-7 to begin with. Just talk about just the overall way your team plays. I feel like there's a lot of positives coming out of that first half.
Yes, it was. We, like I said, we did just a couple of small things wrong at inopportune times, and you know, those are all of them are fixable things that we can fix, and you know, as you said, the score probably should have been tied at that particular point. And, you know, I even go as far as to say we probably should have been up 7-0 because we missed an assignment on that quarterback rollout, and had we stuffed them that, we would have taken over the ball on downs again. So, you know, we could have easily been up. So, you know, I was pleased with going in 14-0 at that time.
It's always difficult playing a team with a new head coach because you have very, very little film on what they're going to do, and trying to make expectations and adjustments as far as what they're trying to do. Their coach, Larry Strain, sir, at White Plains, is a guy that you know very well from both of your basketball standpoints, him being the basketball coach over at Woodland, you with Anniston. Just talk about, number one, y'all's relationship, what you knew about Hanley going in, and kind of what you told your guys at halftime.
Well, Larry and I, we're pretty good friends, and you know, we talked. We were at the Piedmont Passing Camp, and you know, we've always communicated, even throughout during basketball season. And I had an idea he was sort of a spread guy, and that was a contrast for me because Hanley typically been a power team that lines up and they just smash mouth run it right at you. And you know, I kind of had to balance it out. You know, would he stick with what they done in the past, or would he go back to what's true to him? And he basically went back to the spread like he did. Now, he had some series where he ran power out, but mostly, you know, he did what he does as a head coach. And, you know, it was hard to get film. You know, you didn't have a feel for what to do, so you kind of had to just prepare for a lot of things.
Right, and then having to teach your kids to kind of learn on the fly as
Right.
well. And I feel like that could be a situation where it can be precarious, but for the most part, it looks like you guys got it done.
Yeah, we did, and I was proud of them. You know, they were communicating. Nobody had their head down, even when we blow an assignment or something like that. They would, other guys would pick them up, and I was proud of that because, you know, last year we kind of had a problem. Once we get our head down, we had to put a lot of energy into picking them back up, you know, getting the kids saying, hey, we in this game, don't worry about it, we okay.
And last question for this segment, it seemed like this game was really, really physical. They brought a physical mentality, and you guys did as well.
Well, we did. I told the guys all this summer that one of the things I've been disappointed with the last couple of years is that we wasn't as physical as we typically are, and that we were going to get it back. So, you know, we didn't do a lot of contact drills, but I've done a lot of things mentally with tires and with bag work and a lot of footwork to try to get them back in the physical mindset, and they pretty much adapted to it, so I was pleased with that.
Absolutely. The Anderson defense shut out Hanley in the second half, got a touchdown on the board as well. You'll see that coming up later in the second half highlights. But first, here on the Bulldog Blitz, taking a look at the first performance of the season from the Anderson High School Marching Band from Roanoke. We're back with the Bulldog Blitz, 14-0 Hanley. Coming into the second half, and Coach, it seemed like what all the adjustments you guys made really started to pan out there in the third and fourth quarter.
Yes, they came out and basically, you know, they ran a lot of counter plays, and we wanted to make sure that we speared the plays to the outside, and we had one defensive end that didn't play last year, Cassius Carter. You know, we had trouble understanding that concept, and right here in this particular series, they ran the same play twice, and they were able to get big gains out of it. But once we made the adjustment, we were able to stuff them. And as you can see right here, we came up, Chris Beard got a tackle for a loss because we were fitting like we should, and they kicked the field goal, and we were able to hold them out. And, you know, of course, Chris thought we were playing college rules, so he wanted to return it back to try to get some points, but I told him it was dead. Right here, that's Hakeem Ross. We threw a little quick screen to him. We missed a blocking assignment, and you know, of course, we had to punt the football. And right here, you see, we got defense back in. We gave up that little quick slant right there on a missed assignment, but of course, you know, the guy stepped up here. We got a sack right here. Now, defense pretty much was swarming all night. I kind of like that. Gave the offense a chance all the way up to the end. Right here, we have L.J. Hurd. We run the outside zone to him, and you know, LJ's pretty fast. You know, he made a cut back, one cut, and won about 60 yards per touchdown, and kind of got him pumped up. And you know, we were back in the game there. Of course, you can see in the third quarter, it was 14-6. We missed the extra point, and right there, you can see we just missed the tackle. They ran the zone read, and Chris came in, and instead of breaking down, he made an arm tackle, and we kind of blew it. That assignment right there, and right here the defense came back. We forced the fumble right here, recovered, and I gave the offense a chance. But we had a couple of missed assignments, and of course this was third down here, and Jeremy McCants made a good run, and we had to punt the football back out. Tate Miller got off a great punt. You know, we were able to cover about a 40-yard point, got it out to midfield, and defense stiffened up a little bit again right here. We gave up a pretty good gain to them right there, but the defense came back and stiffened up a little bit.
Absolutely, and it seemed like whenever you guys needed to play a big play, especially like this one, gang-style tackling, and everybody came to play when they needed to.
Right, defense came back. Of course, we stuffed them 3 times in a row, and I believe in this series right here, we may have gotten a penalty that actually gave him 3 extra downs, but of course Jay Parker came through right there, and we got a tackle for a loss and got the ball back. And right there, that's Chris Beard again on a big catch that gave us a first down. We kind of was moving the football. We had enough time, but we didn't have any more timeouts because I had to burn the timeouts trying to save time for the offense, you know, to be able to get the football back. And of course, right there, he threw an ill-advised pass and we had an interception.
And it's one of those where you could tell he was trying to make a play. If you see your final score there from Rowan up 14-6, and you saw there in that last drive, you guys were making some plays there on the outside, on the inside with Tay Miller's arm. Talk about just the second half as it went overall, because it seemed when you needed a big play on offense, you got one from L.J. Hurd.
Right.
And then at the end of the game, you guys were making some plays there towards the end to get yourself in position to score that game-tying touchdown.
Well, we wanted to get our offense a chance, you know. We kept telling the defense sudden change. You know, all we want to do is be patient. We had enough time and we had timeouts and just get our offense the ball back. And if we did that, they did their job. So, you know, the defense, we left that feeling like we gave them a chance. And, of course, I told the offense, I said, you know, it's just something that has to come together. You know, you know, you have some game-winning drives, game-tying drives. And I said, this particular drive, we came up a little bit short. But I said, we'll get it right.
There was a drive in the first half when Hanley was going down and they were about the 20-yard line. You got an interception.
Right.
There was another drive in the third quarter going back in the other direction where you got a strip and a fumble. Talk about those turnovers and just what that does as far as momentum for your team.
Well, our goal is to force 4 turnovers and actually defense to score once. And we forced the 4 turnovers. And had we scored on the scoop that Chris got, you know, we would have met our goals. And that's what we try to teach them, is that we're going to go out and, you know, the goal is 3 and out and, you know, to meet the other goals, which is 4 turnovers in the score. But, you know, I was pleased, you know, if you can get halfway there, if you got a turnover differential, you give yourself a chance to win. And I think we gave ourselves a chance to win. We just came a little bit short. Absolutely.
From the highlights, we could see some of the players who had the ball and made some plays. Talk about some other guys after seeing the film and seeing some of the guys that maybe didn't get as much love that played well in week 1.
Well, we had several guys. Jay Parker, of course, at Mike linebacker. We had used Edward Montgomery at running back and at outside linebacker. We got a new guy, Tariq Packard Wood. He's about 6'3". Basketball player that hadn't played in 2 years. He played outside linebacker, and he did a great job. And, of course, we had to use Hakeem Ross on both sides. And we got a transfer in from Kansas, Elias Fulton. He played nose guard for us all night. He did a great job.
Absolutely. All those guys will be in action in week 2 as the Bulldogs step into region play against Mortimer Jordan. We'll talk about that game coming up next here on the Bulldog Blitz. And the book is closed on week 1. Now the Anniston Bulldogs look ahead to week 2. Here on the Bulldog Blitz, let's talk about week 2's opponent, Mortimer Jordan. Last year was a game where the final score wasn't really indicative of the way the game was played. Several chances to win. Talk about just that, getting that edge back against the Devils.
Well, we're looking forward to actually playing Mortimer Jordan, because last year, you know, we kind of had a mix-up in our film trade, and you know, we were actually preparing for a spread team and got in, and we were playing a wing T team. So, you know, we kind of prepared, you know, both ways, you know, whatever comes up. But just looking forward to it, because we had to make some adjustments on the fly at halftime. And we actually came out the second half and outscored them. You know, they didn't score anymore, but you know, we're just looking forward to playing them again.
That was an interesting dynamic last year because, you know, we can get into all the stuff about it, but it was one of those where, like you said, you're preparing for one thing, and then you were set for another, and then you outscored them in the second half. You made sure you shut them down. Now knowing and having a full year's worth of tape, I feel like this team would be a lot more comfortable and confident heading into this game.
Right, but we're going in sort of with a chip on our shoulder. We want to make sure that, you know, we give ourselves a chance again. You know, last year I think we were down 28-0 or something like that at the halftime, and that's just a big deficit to overcome, especially when you got a young team and different guys in position. But hopefully this year we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. You know, we want to be prepared. So we coming out. We gonna be ready.
Absolutely. This is your second year in the region. I know you want to focus just on Mortimer Jordan, but just quickly look at the region as a whole. It's a very, very tough region. Mortimer Jordan spent some time in the top 5 last year in the state rankings. Just talk about this region overall as you head into it for that second season.
Well, it's a tough region. You know, you have Mortimer, Jordan, Lincoln, you have Alexandria, Moody, Springbrook, you know, and those teams are always, each week is a tough game. So you know, in the past you would get an opportunity to relax a little bit during the region, not, you know, any disrespect to any team, but you could sort of relax a little bit. But in this particular region, you got to be up mentally as well as physically to play every week, you know, and if not, you get beat. And of course, Mortimer Jordan is ranked right now, so you know, it only helps us if we can come out and get a win. Absolutely.
Even despite last year's 2-7 record, really all the way up until week 8, you were mathematically eligible for the playoffs. Does the region games, or do region games this year just take a different meaning because you know understand the importance of each one of them?
It does, and I explained that to the guys earlier, you know, before we even started the season. You know, first of all, I had to let them know that Handley was non-region game. You know, of course you want to win all your games, but you know, what really matters is what you do in the region. And, you know, once I explained that to them, I told them that, you know, you can have as many as 4 losses and still get in the region and get in the playoffs and win. You know, you just had to stay focused. And that was the hardest thing, is getting the players to buy into that concept, because they tend to think after 1 or 2 losses that the season is done, and it's really not. You know, we were mathematically in it. All we had to do was just, you know, stay positive, come out with a victory or 2, and we may have been all right, but they've been pretty focused and buying into what we're doing, so hopefully we can get it turned around Friday.
They always say that the team's greatest improvements usually always from week 1 to week 2. Talk about tangibly some of the things you want to see this team get better at next week.
Well, I just want to get a little bit more poise. You know, we got out, and of course you could see in certain situations we got a little bit rattled, and you know, the coaches had to settle the players down, but you know, on offense, I want Tay to be able to settle the offense down. And, of course, on defense, Jay Parker's my Mike linebacker. I want him to be able to settle the guys down and just, you know, stay focused, because, you know, it's not a fatality if we have a mistake or something like that. It's not a big deal. We can overcome it. And that's going to be the point of emphasis, you know, how many times we got in bad situations, but the defense was able to hold and not give up points, you know, and you want to be up from there.
Last question real quick, talk about playing the first game at Lott Mosby Memorial Stadium, playing in front of the Bulldog fans.
Oh, it's going to be great. You know, last year we spent over half the season, 5 of the games on the road. So this year we had a majority of the games at home, and it's always good to play in front of your home crowd to have that support.
Absolutely. Coach, thank you so much again. Good luck in week 2. Head over to Lott Mosby Memorial Stadium for the second week of the high school football season. The Anniston Bulldogs looking to get a win over Mortimer Jordan in the first game of region play. That's it for the Bulldog Blitz here in week 1. I'm Gary Mathagani for Coach Eddie Bullock. We'll see you next week right here.